Something that I struggled with for a really long time was working on things, and this could be stuff that I like to do myself, or it could be work things, or it could be a lot of stuff, and being unable to find the thing that I need to make the thing happen. I'm the kind of person that when I start to work on something, I need to be in a vibe, especially larger projects. I've got to have, it sounds really hokey, but I got to be in the mood. There's a lot of things I can do that don't take very much time or that aren't very complex when I'm not in the mood or have the vibe or whatever. But when I have that kind of vibe, I need to kind of strike when the iron's hot. And when I do start and I have that kind of flow, I work really quickly. I'll make a piece of art or make a lot of progress on a project or whatever it happens to be really quick. And it's very frustrating when I can't find the things that I need to make the thing happen. If I'm working in a particular place and I have to go into another room and look for the thing, I used to be considerably disorganized, and because of working quickly, you can make a mess, and then just, all kinds of reasons that kind of led me to have this kind of love-hate relationship with these kinds of projects. Something that I discovered from watching Adam Savage's channel is the principle of first order retrievability. I'm going to show you a few examples of how I put that into play in my own life. I thought it might be interesting to people and give you something to try if you're kind of like me and have frantic vibe-based work ethic, so to speak. I'm going to give you a couple examples of things. This is an example of first order retrievability that you probably already do, and that is, I have a task and I want to make coffee, and so here's the stuff that I need to do that. I've got my coffee right here, I have my coffee filters, I have my coffee cups, and I have this. If I want to have tea, I've got a couple kinds. Right there is a perfect example of that in action that you probably already do. And this makes things way more efficient for me when I am not conscious, which is every morning. I can take care of this and it can be going, and I can slowly come to consciousness and feel like a human being in relatively short order. Here's the second example of how this works for me. This is something that I came to apply here relatively recently. I have clothes, I have to wear them. I've separated them by type, but I've got like shirts with collars that I might wear to work, and then I have t-shirts over here. And one of the things that I do also is I keep hangers up here so that when I do laundry, which is like a lot of people once or twice a week or something, I know where the hangers are. I don't have to hunt for hangers when I'm doing this. I can pile up the clothes, hang them on hangers, put the stuff that I need to iron someplace and move it over. And the rest of my closet is kind of the same way. And also I had a couple of extra chairs. I threw those into the closet and I used those as kind of shoe racks. The next area, which, you're probably like, wow, coffee and clothes. Those are both things, frankly, that I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time folding clothes or finding clothes. I want to be able to find what I want and grab it immediately. And by doing it that way, I know where they are. I know where the hangers are, so I don't waste so much time messing around with stuff like that. This is a similar example of my home office. I work about half the time at home now, and of course a lot of my work's done on the computer. This is how I kind of set things up. Here I've got a schedule of things, I've got mail, I've got my paper is out, I've got my printer there. I'm sitting right next to that so I can print it off if I need to print something, and it's going to be right there. I've got everything that I need here to do what I need to do. So I've got a whole bunch of different kinds of pens. I like to highlight shit. I also have my glasses repair kit because you'd be surprised how many times something will pop loose and I need to fix it. And then I've got some glass cleaner. I've got my stapler. I have Post-it notes. I've got all the stuff right here available for me whenever I need to do it. Common things that I work with a lot are over there. I've got stamps, and I've got my mailers, and I've got some envelopes for when I need to do stuff like that. I teach in college, and so here's the APA manual. Sorry if that triggers anybody, but I've got that here. I'm ready to do whatever I need to do whenever I need to do it. And then behind me, I've got various, manuals, some that I might need to refer to if I'm teaching something and need to break something out. So they're all here, and I can retrieve them quickly and easily. I also have these plants, which I managed to keep alive for many years now. They don't look that great, but they are green and they're not dead. So I'm pretty proud of that. Okay, so here's the next place that I'm going to show you how I put that first order retrievability into play. This is my art room. I tend not to work as much in here as I do to assemble things. So actually drawing stuff and things like that, I usually do that on my coffee table. But in here, I'll do things like mat and frame things and glue stuff and anything that's messy, like collage work, gold leaf application. I try to keep all that stuff in here so that it doesn't get everywhere else in my house. Because again, remember the whole working quickly, making a mess situation, that's for real. And you can kind of see this table that I have in here, which used to be my kitchen table and is clearly not a kitchen table anymore. On this table here, you can see I've got a few things that I'm working on right now. That material over there is going to become some more collages and things like that. This is interesting. So, have you ever see those little like book nook things that are on? You might see them on your social media feeds or something like that, or you'll get a little ad about it. I bought one of these for my girlfriend for Christmas, and I thought this would be a fun thing that we could do. I thought it was press fit, but it's not. We've been working on it since Christmas. It's March now. We probably spent about 8 or 9 hours working on it. It's happening, but I would guess that at this point we're about a third of the way through it. I'm kind of hoping that it might be a good 4th of July completion goal for that one. So word to the wise, keep an eye out. Consider your time when you're thinking about that, unless you're really into that kind of stuff. Back to the original subject at hand. This rest of this stuff is organized, so I have all of my kind of tools and things are all over here, and I've got them all labeled. So like here's scrap art for collages that I might make. So I've got a whole bunch of random things in here, which I'll pick up later, of pictures of stuff that I thought was cool, and I've got it there and it's ready to go. I've got my oil paint, oil and chalk pastels, gold leaf, size, pencils, all this kind of stuff is in these shoe boxes that I can then, and also my pasta attachment box, that I know where it is and I can grab it immediately. And this is the kind of stuff that I do in here mostly, like especially down here, like spray glue, other kinds of glue, tapes, cutting stuff, Mod Podge. I got the hot glue gun, all that kind of stuff. And if I need any of this stuff, this box I use a lot. I have a lot of stuff in there. And so I can just come in and grab the whole box and go do whatever I need to do. And so this has been really helpful to me to have this organized this way. Incidentally, I got this wire rack, during the pandemic for like $50 or some crazy thing. That was also appealing. And so then, I can, when I am doing the larger scale types of things where I'm, cutting something to fit down and I'm going to mat it or I'm going to frame it or whatever I'm going to do, I've got this space. I can do that. Got the tools right there to do it, and I can take care of it fast. Like matting and framing, you want to rush through it. It's like the fun part of doing the art is one part of it, but the finishing of it in that way to, mat it and put it in a frame can be something, I don't want to do this. I'm just going to really quick measure this. Well, you know what happens when you measure once and then you cut twice. Or, I've actually broken things by moving too quickly. I have broken the glass and frames and cut myself. I've done all this crazy shit because I was in a hurry and I wanted to be done. And that this whole system kind of helps me to not do that. Now, it's not perfect in here. I mean, this is one example of something I was trying that, you know, to do that I thought might be helpful, is to get pieces in progress and finish things, or things that were ready to be framed, kind of off of a table, out of a closet, and into someplace visual where I could see them. I'm not happy with it completely, but it's something. It's all a process. You know, nothing in here. Somebody might look in here and be like, oh, you should move this here or do that. Maybe they could, you know, and maybe I will, but it's like a feel thing. It's like, once I get into a system and I try it out for a while, and then I start to feel when the things are inefficient, when I find myself impeded by lack of ability to get something quickly. And so all of these things that I'm doing here really kind of help with my work, with my art, with, you know, making these videos. I've kind of got a setup where everything is there and it's in a relatively contained space because I don't have a giant house. I know where it is. And that when I have that time where I feel that vibe and I feel like I want to make something, I want to do something, I can do it relatively easily without a whole lot of like, well, I got to get all set up now. This is another example of the kind of thing I was talking about. And by the way, I should add this, you know, it's like, this is kind of where I keep all the stuff that I need to walk Sam. It gets cold here, so I've got my hats, I got my gloves, I got my poop bags, I got some treats that I can take with me, and then I got his leash. He's got his leash and that kind of thing. It's easy for me to put this stuff together and just go, instead of like having to hunt for something. Here's a couple of other examples too, that may be helpful. In here, I obviously have to feed my dog twice a day. And so down beneath, I've got the dry dog food, and you can't really, box of treats in case, when we need those. And then up here, I've got all of his wet stuff and his meds that he takes every day. Also, what I've got is vitamins and all that kind of stuff, prescriptions. Like, I put them all here so that way I can get at them without having to fuss around at all. This is how I organize my workstation and my music stuff for when I want to play guitar. I'm not a great guitar player. I've been playing my whole life and I've reached mediocre level. But over the pandemic, you know, I bought a few more guitars and practiced a lot, and I enjoy that. And so I like to keep them. There they are, you know. Also, I play with some guys on Sundays and some other times. And so I've got all the cases for them kind of back there in the corner. You can't really tell what that is, but that's the bag of all my music and stuff like that. When we turn over here, Sam, quit licking your feet, buddy. This is kind of where I edit videos like this one, and also create the music intros for some of them. And so I've got a little synthesizer here. I've got my microphone set up. I've got the light if I need it, the workstation itself, and then a music stand. I have my modeling amp, and then down beneath it, I'll swing around here a little bit. You can see, like, I've got all the manuals and spare parts and all that kind of stuff is in those boxes down there. So the key thing about doing first order retrievability is to make it so that you just don't have to fuss around when you want to do something. You don't have to get a bunch of stuff out or go down in the basement and pull things out and do stuff. Of course, I have things like that. Sam, stop licking your feet. I have some things like that I don't get as often, and this is totally a work in progress. I'm not fully aligned to that. I could show you, some parts of my kitchen where I think about it. I haven't come up with solutions for things of it to apply that yet, but I'm working on it. That's kind of the goal, is just to keep making intuitive, experience-based changes to the way that the things are ordered in your life so that it's easier to get straight to it. I hope you all enjoyed that. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch this. Thanks.